I think I know what you're talking about because I see that happening every day in our journey together. And another thing maybe which is important to talk a little bit, I mean, because I work with women a lot and you know me working with men. And one thing that I know women really don't like is controlling. So where is the balance? So we definitely want men to step into their power and be a leader in the relationship and also kind of guide us, lead us, maybe make surprises and just take us to straight to the direction and also make sure that we're going to the right direction, because you also have to prove that you are a good leader and we are safe with you guys. But in the other side, we also want to make sure that you do not only take decisions for yourself and for us, and we just show up and we don't have a say and we don't have a voice. Where is the balance here?
Ooh, okay, so
this is not covered in the book, so I want your point of view.
No, well, I think it's a great question, and I'm going to go over some topics I've talked about elsewhere. So I think if you look back historically at where we have come from over the last several generations. I'm Generation X, whatever generation we're on to now. Prior to that, my parents were baby boomers, and then you have the silent generation before them. And if you look at that silent generation, women stayed at home and were the housewives, ran the house, brought up the children. Men went out and worked, earned the money, and with that, holding those purse strings, having that money came the power in the relationship. And my feeling, without having lived in that time, in those relationships, is that men had that power in the decision making as well. They made decisions unilaterally. They set direction for the family, and that was the norm at the time. Unfortunately, people learn from their parents, and that is still being passed down through families, and people are expecting to do that. Despite having gone through the baby boomer generation where women started to find, or more frequently found their place in the workplace, went out and started to get financial independence. And ultimately it comes back to that famous word, that famous three-letter word, ego. So it's one thing to give your opinion and say, here's my analysis, here's my decision, this is what I would do. But it's another thing to say, right, having done that, I'm now going to defend that, and I'm prepared to die on a hill for that decision. And that's your ego driving that. And if we don't do that, then I'm challenged and I will lose if we don't do that decision. The boundary is...
Or maybe is this kind of ego talking to you, oh, she didn't listen to me. I told her to wear blue and she got white, so she doesn't respect me, she didn't listen to me. Or I told her not to go to this job, but she went to another job, or I told her not to do this business, so I'm not going to support her because she didn't listen to me. So I hear these stories all the time. So this is where you say the ego steps in.
Exactly.
And this is where is the balance between being there to support her, but not being there to control her decision.
That's it. So the ego is the one that drives you into that controlling mindset frame. I have made, I've been asked for my opinion, I've been asked for my decision, and therefore we must do that. And if we're not doing that, that's a challenge to me, or rather it's a challenge to my ego. My ego doesn't like it, so I'm going to then start trying to control. But it also comes back to the first, the earlier part of this conversation, and some of our prior conversations, which is, for men, we don't necessarily understand what's going on in feminine energy. So having performed that analysis and put that analysis out there and that decision out there, this idea that someone's going to just ignore what we've put out there, what we've said, and go with what they feel, which isn't based on analysis, it's purely based on gut feeling, is an anathema to us. And for a lot of men, they don't even realise that that's out there. So it seems very odd to us if we're not aware of that. It seems very odd to us if we've been asked about it's being ignored. So for men, it's a case of we need to stop sitting there thinking we are the centre of the universe our ego is right.
Not anymore.
Our ego is right and should be listened to, and try and understand that there is this other side, this feminine energy that's sitting there driven off intuition, and also, as we talked about in our last conversation, reserves the right to change its mind at a moment's notice.
Yeah, and we do change our mind a lot. Yeah.
And respect that, and not be wedded to what you put out there. You know, treat it as, I've been asked for my opinion, I will provide it, but then I'm going to let it go. And it's not my decision. It's I'm not dictating to someone what they should and shouldn't do. I'm providing them input. What they do with, they can take my advice and use it, or they can just ignore it. It's up to them, and I'm not going to be any the lesser for it.
Well, I hope many men out there are going to listen to this message and understand that their partners, their women, are not an object to be controlled and moved from one place to another. They are there as a great asset in their life, and it can add lots of value in your life when you treat them with love, respect, and support.